Hi, Dobby here. In this video, I'll be showing you how to change the fuel filter on a 2011 C4 Grand Picasso with a 1.6 diesel engine. To start, we remove the top soundproofing cover off the engine. This is done by pulling it up off the rubber tabs. The next step is to remove the 3 fuel lines and the 1 connector from the fuel filter itself. This is done by pressing them in and then pulling them off. The third one can be a bit more tricky. As you can see, the third one, which is the most right hand side one, is slightly more tricky than the others. This requires pulling up, pushing down and pulling off all at the same time. It's quite a tricky little connector, but just bear with it, be patient and you'll get there. You may find a small pick or screwdriver handy for this connector. Now it's time to remove the 2.8mm nuts holding the fuel filter onto the engine. I used a 1/4 inch ratchet here with a small extension, which gave me all the clearance I needed. Once you have the bolts loose, it's now time to remove the filter. Simply pulls out. Now it's time to remove the fuel filter housing from the fuel filter. This is done by removing the 3 T15 screws on the top of the filter. Here you can see me using a T15 or Torx 15 in a screwdriver to remove the 3 screws at the top of the filter. As you can see, the screws are now out and now it's time to remove the fuel filter housing from the fuel filter. This is done by pulling it off. This one was quite tough, so I had to enlist everyone's favourite pry bar, the screwdriver. Just gently wiggle it under the edge to break the seal and then just gently pull off in a straight motion. It's useful to have something to catch the excess fuel in the filter. I used a jug from the kitchen here. The missus was not happy with me about this. Pro tip, do not use the jugs from the kitchen. Here's the new filter. As you can see, it comes with a brand new seal. Now it's time to reassemble the filter. This is done by pushing the filter housing back onto the filter, not forgetting the seal like I nearly did here. It can be a bit fiddly to get the 3 screw holes lined up. Once you have them lined up, just tighten down the 3 screws. If you're enjoying this video, please drop me a like, sub to the channel and leave me a comment. And that's the filter reassembled. Now it's time to put it back in the car. The tube on the bottom of the filter goes into this hole. Now it's time to reinstall the filter. This is done by sliding it back past the fuel lines. To secure the filter back in place, tighten down the 2 8mm bolts. Start this by hand and then move on to a socket. Once you have the bolts tightened down, it's time to reconnect the fuel lines and the electrical connector. This is done by pushing them back on until you hear the click. Once you have the lines reconnected, just give them a wiggle to make sure they're secure. With the price of fuel at the moment, you don't want any leaks. It's time to prime the filter. This is done by pushing down the black button on the top of the filter housing until it goes firm. This can be quite tricky. If you're having trouble with this step, you may find it easier to remove the middle pipe and prime the filter as you did before until fuel comes out of the middle connector. The last step of the priming sequence is to turn on the ignition a few times without starting the engine, as you see me do here. And that's the job complete. We've just changed the fuel filter on the Citroen C4 Grand Picasso. Thanks for watching until the end. If you'd like to see more from me, please sub to the channel, drop me a like and leave a comment down below if you have any questions. Once again, thank you for watching Dobby's Repairs. Have a great day.